First of all, I'm going to probably pass the microphone to the coach here, but thanks for everybody also. Jim does all the work for this organization, but is being involved as a community member for years. This is the National Football Foundation, the Joe Tiller chapter, Kelly Kitchell, and many others, and put a lot of work into this, and we're very proud of the fact that this is an important organization for the long-term support, not only of Purdue football, but football in the state of Indiana. And we've got so many local folks, living legends like Dave Mecklenburg and others, Trent Johnson, and guys, Max Bales, that are officials, people that do the things behind the scenes to make football in this community really important and viable. So I want to thank that. I also want to thank you guys, Coach Walters and the staff, for taking the time to do this today, because I know you get the frequent flyer miles, to say the least. So I know it's a dead period now, as Coach reminded me of that, but we appreciate all of that. So I will turn this over to Coach Walters, and then I'll come back and ask you some really hard-hitting questions. You guys can ask them as well. Coach?
First off, I just want to thank you guys for being here. The support means everything to us. I will bring up my staff. They're not going to get off that easy, or I'm just going to have them stand up and I'll introduce themselves. They are going to come up. If you guys could just kind of gather over here. They'll introduce themselves, and I'll kind of give you a state of the union of what we're doing as a program. My entire staff is not here today. As you guys know, like during transition times, there are different things going on with family members and moving and all those things, and I gave clear instructions to everybody on my staff. You got to take care of home first. If home is not taken care of, you can't do your job to the best of your ability. I don't know anybody's wife, man, and me. So some guys are in the process of moving and doing those things, so they're not here. But as you kind of will get a feel for the staff, I've tried to hire people that are extensions of myself. Similar personalities, same mindset, same value systems. And most importantly, great teachers and high character guys that love football and love the relationship aspect that is provided in this profession. So that being said, I'm going to pass the mic to our defensive coordinator, Kevin Kane.
Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm Kevin Kane, coming with Coach Walters from down the road. All right, excited to be here. Like you said, my wife, she's actually at a basketball tournament somewhere in Illinois. I have no idea. So I got 3 little ones, right? I got 10 and 9-year-old boys, and a little daughter that's 5 years old. So they're excited to get over here. I actually joined a basketball tournament that's been playing on Sundays here already. So we're getting here. All right, we're fired up to be here, and looking forward to boiling up in y'all. Okay, I'm gonna pass the mic on to Corey Patterson.
What's up, y'all? How we doing? We good?
Good.
All right. I'm Corey Patterson. I'm going to the receivers. Had 2 shorties. 113 and 17, just turned 7 yesterday, so we had a phenomenal birthday party for a 7-year-old. I think I had more fun than she did. So, definitely a big kid. I had a lot of fun. Drove back up today. Excited to be around the guys, and I'm excited to be around you guys. So we look to have a lot of fun, play some really good football, and win a championship for Purdue. Joe Deneen.
How y'all doing? My name's Joe Deneen. I coach the outside linebackers here. I was a GA for Coach Walt last year at Illinois. And Coach Kane, I actually played for him at the University of Kansas. So he's taught me, he's like my football dad is what I say. I'm engaged, no kids yet. I know of. Getting married in July, so if any of you guys have any advice, I'll take it.
Don't do it.
Thank you guys for running. No, I appreciate you guys having this. It's a great event. We're so excited to be here. We're excited to get to work. Absolutely. So I'm going to pass it to our special teams coordinator, Chris Riley.
Hey, I'm Chris Petrilli. I'm coming up here from North Texas. Super excited to be here. Originally from Montana, so the cold doesn't bother me at all. It's a little more windy. I've got my wife should be coming up here depending on when we close on this house. As you guys know, that can be a process. So she might be here in 2 weeks, she might be here in 2 months. But we got 5 kids. They're awesome. They're super excited about the logo. Everyone calls me Coach P, everyone calls them P. So they're very excited. There's an entire university dedicated to our family. That's a hard one to follow, man. Hey, I'm Lamar Connor. My family is in Miami, Ohio right now. It'll be a slow transition for us. We got 3 little ones. The good thing for my family is this is home for us. My wife's a graduate of this university, and I played and graduated here as well. This is also my home station, Melbourne, Indiana, so it's awesome to be back. My oldest son, Lamar Jr., was actually born across the bridge at home hospital. It's pretty cool. He's out of the nest. He got his own job. He'll find his way over here in his own house. Home hospital gone. It's fantastic to be back and be part of the community. I look forward to getting out amongst you and talking. This is wonderful people, and I'm grateful to welcome them back. I just look forward to getting out and talking to everybody. So, and getting these running backs right. Let's get down there. I mean, let's go win a championship. So I'll introduce you to Seth Ade next. Right?
Seth Ade, coach for tight ends. Previously with at Ole Miss, with Lane Kiffin. 3 years prior to that at USC with our offensive coordinator, Graham Harrell, who's not here today. That's the connection. We actually played quarterback together at Texas Tech. Our dads coached together in West Texas when we were little. So we've known each other for a long time. We kind of believe the same way, see the games the same way. So it makes it a lot easier. But my whole crew is here. I mean, we're fired up. The only concern my 4-year-old daughter has is why is it cold here? I'm like, babe, that's what it is. We're not in Southern California anymore.
It snow there.
It doesn't snow, and I'll never forget because she was actually born in Toledo. We moved home to Texas. I get a job in LA, and the first adversity she's ever had in her life was wind. She said she came out from outside. She goes, "Dad, what's that?" I said, "What's what?" I see the trees kind of moving. I said, "Baby, that's wind." I said, "I'm in trouble." But I'm glad to be here. I think I have a really good unit led by Garrett Miller. I know he got injured last year. I think he's an absolute freak. So hopefully we get him right and make you guys proud of him a lot of games. So, anyways, I'm gonna introduce Rick Haley, our D-line coach.
How we doing? As you said, I'm Rick Haley. I'm the defensive line coach. I was hoping to go last because I'm the oldest guy on the staff. I feel like I'm somebody's granddad. But it's been really good. I've been knowing Coach Walters for quite a while. We worked together for 4 years at University of Missouri. So that's my background with him. I've had a really great time here in this town since I've been here. I was out one night having something to eat, and there was a couple that was sitting next to me, and they were talking about the new football staff. And they said, "Oh yeah, this Ryan Walters guy, he's like unbelievable. He's got this energy, and he's hiring all these damn young guys." And then her husband said, "Yeah, he hired some old ass guy." I said, "I'm that old ass guy." But other than that, it's been great. You're welcome. You know what I mean? So, but I'm enjoying it. I have 3 boys. My oldest son is an athletic trainer at Louisiana Lafayette, and my middle son is autistic, but he's very functional. We have a foundation that we raise money for autism. It's called the Brick Road to Success. So you can go and look us up on that. And then my other son, my youngest boy, is the crook of the family. He's always scheming, trying to get out of shit. But my wife Tina, who I've been married to for 27 years, she's a rock star. She keeps me in line, takes care of everything. But I'm excited to be here. I told Ryan when he hired me, I knew they said I was an old guy. But, you know, he's put a little spark back in my life. So I'm excited about this. I'm excited about being here and doing a hell of a job for you guys. Thank you. Noah.
We're Stu.
I give everybody a nickname. And, Noah's nickname is Ark, because he built the damn ark.
Appreciate it, glad to be here. Thanks for evening out the age. So our median age was 25, and then when we hired Brick, it went up to 32. So, you guys so it's good to be here. So Coach Walters and I actually worked together in North Texas, had an unbelievable experience a year there, and it was crazy. So after our season, I got a job at the school down south up here. And about a week later, he left and went to Memphis, and we always stayed in touch, and it's good to be back and good to be here. And I know being at the game last night and just seeing the atmosphere and the fans supporting the students and their chants and cheers, can't wait to get the 100th year at Ross-Ade Stadium here in a couple weeks, or a couple of months here. So glad to be here. Thanks for everything you guys do.
Who was
With
that?
I'm going to give you the Stanton King. And his name is Stanton, but if he will not answer that, he goes by Stu.
I'm Stanton King. Everybody calls me Stu, though. Funny story. Graham told Coach Walters, "Hey, I want to hire this guy named Stanton King." And I show up and we introduce myself as Stanton King, and so then Graham starts calling me Stu, right? And then Coach Walters like, "Who's this Stu guy? Where's this Stu guy?" So I told Coach Walters, "Yeah, Graham. You thought Graham hired 2 people, but he really hired 1. I go, he's Stu." But I'm excited to be here. I have a wife. We've been married for a year and a half. No kids yet. Like Coach Deneen, I'm really excited to be here. This past year I was at West Virginia with Coach Harold, and the 2 years prior to that I was with Coach Davey and Coach Harold. Like I said, I'm really excited to be here. Appreciate you guys coming in.
That is most of the staff, just like I said, missing a couple people that take care of some family issues, family items. So I thought, what I would do now is kind of take you through sort of what we've been doing as a program since, I think it was like December 14th. First, when the opportunity presented itself, when Coach Brown decided to take the job and go back to his home state, I was immediately excited. I was excited for a couple reasons. One, I knew that at the end of this year, I was going to have an opportunity at a couple of different places to potentially become a head coach, which I had wanted to do since I got into this profession. I knew from day one, my first staff meeting in 2009 at University of Colorado, when Dan Hawkins was the head coach there, that I wanted to do that. I wanted to sit in that seat. I wanted to run a program. I wanted to build a staff and put in place a staff together. So every decision I've made along the way has been with that in mind. So I've cataloged information about the do's and don'ts, what I like to do, what I wouldn't like to do, how I would set up a calendar, how I wouldn't set up a calendar, and some of the programs I was a part of, I learned more from the failures than I did from the successes. And I think a lot of times in life, some of the trials and tribulations you go through are the best teachers. And so along the way, I've had, like I said, logged this information, and then when this opportunity presented itself, I was like, man, I want that job. I want that job. And there's a couple reasons why. One, obviously knew the conference, knew this side of the conference. Being the defense coordinator at Illinois the last couple of years, I knew how to stop everybody. The only team I had problems with was Purdue. So now that Brom is gone, I'm here, and I'm like, shoot, we can shut everybody out now. So Coach Kane, where you at?
Here we go.
But in all reality, so that was one of the reasons why I was excited about this opportunity. The second was I knew about the fan base, the support that this university has. In 2021, we played here. It was an 11 a.m. kickoff, early game. We were both like around 500 teams. Wasn't a whole lot of excitement around the matchup, but we went out for warm-ups and the place was packed. And I'm like, what is going on at Purdue? Like, why are so many people at this game? We're both just okay, you know what I mean? But that game day atmosphere, I was like, that is something I can get behind. And then as I started going through the process, got in touch with Mike Levinsky and Tiffany Grimes, and I think it was a turnkey search firm that was running the search. We had about an hour and a half Zoom call, and it went well. It was fluid. The conversation was fluid. The ideas and visions were aligned. Got off that call and I was like, no, I think I'll get a second interview and get an in-person deal. So then I met in person with Tiffany Grimes, Mike Binsky, and Mike Berghoff, the director of Board of Trustees. And that conversation lasted about 2.5, 3 hours. I just kind of laid out exactly what I wanted to do with the program, how I wanted to set up the 12-month calendar, what I thought about academics, how I wanted to structure recruiting, all the ins and outs of what it takes to run a program. And like I said, I've been thinking about this since 2009. So, I gave them a bunch of information, a packet of sheets of paper, but I was just talking fluidly about it because, again, this is what I wanted to do. And in my mind, this is what I was born to do. I was born to be a football coach. I grew up in the locker room. This is a dream come true for me. So leaving that conversation, I realized it wasn't just about the location that I was excited about. It was about the people. I left there and called my wife and I said, man, I really want this job because I want to work with those people. And what I found is since I've been here, it is about the people. Obviously the facilities are fantastic, the town is fantastic, but it's the community and the support and the outcry and really the brotherhood and the pride of wearing the old gold and black and being from this state and being affiliated with Purdue University that has really gotten me to the point where I'm like, now, yeah, this is where I want to be. So I get the job, fired up about it. They come pick me up in a private plane. I don't know why, because it's just an hour and a half down the street. But I'm like, cool. Hey guys, can we get on a private plane? So now my kids are spoiled. They just think that's how you're supposed to travel now. So I land, and then you come down. You go down Cherry Lane. You took that right onto John Wooden Drive. And I'm like, wow, there's this big building, right? And the 2 practice fields out there, it's right across the street from Ross-Ade. You walk through the facilities and you realize this is no nonsense. There's no excuse why you can't have success here unless you just mess it up, right? And so I'm sitting there thinking and looking out at my office and seeing the stadium. And I'm like, man, I feel like I'm 16, got a keys to a Lamborghini. So, I remember calling Coach Kane and like, man, they messed up, give me this job. Like, this is the whole Big Ten about to be mad at us. And so, what we've been doing since we got here, obviously it was an awkward time. Usually at a place like Purdue, when there is change, it's because of failure, right? So there's no bowl game, the coaches let go, new coaches hired, get the ground running recruiting. Well, obviously there was a lot of success here last season. We won the Big Ten West, right? Played in the Big Ten championship game. Not only was there a bowl game, but it was a January 2nd bowl game. So there's this awkward time where I'm hired, December 14th, December 15th, and then I'm in the building, but so is everybody else, right? And I'm at practice, but not really at practice, right? That was not me in the bowl game. I promise you, that was. I promise you in the bowl game. And so what I was doing is I was just observing. I was seeing how guys operated at practice. I was seeing how the training room was set up. I was seeing how academics was structured. I was seeing what they were doing in the recruiting department. Just trying to see all the things outside the white lines that was taking place and the people that were touching our kids every day and how can I make those things better, right? So that we put a stress test on a lot of the different areas of the program. Some of those areas held up, some of them didn't. So we made some changes that were for the betterment of our student athletes experience. I think because of that, the guys in the locker room right now, they are willing to jump through a wall for us. We are putting them through an 8-week cycle of workouts right now. I'm a big believer in getting them ready to play football before spring football. You think about it, when you get ready for a season, you get 8 weeks in the summer working out, and then you go start practice. Well, to me, it's the same way in springtime. Give them 8 weeks to work out so that they're ready to go play football, right? And so we'll be on week 7 this coming up week. And then we'll hit week 8. They'll go on spring break. I've told them don't waste all the 8 weeks of working out during spring break. But we get ready to go and for this 5-week stretch of spring ball to get ready for the season. Then they'll get some time off in May. I think it's 3.5 weeks or so, and then we'll get 8 weeks in the summertime. Then it's on track for fall camp and trying to make this run with this schedule that they got set up for us. So that's what we've been doing. As far as recruiting goes, You know, I thought that the most important thing when I got the job was to keep the kids that were committed, especially the guys that were in state. And you know, we did that for the most part. You know, fought a couple schools on some guys, and you know, in particular Louisville fought some guys, and we kept them. So that, you know, to me that speaks a lot about this university, not so much about this staff, right? Because I didn't know these guys, and the staff didn't know these guys, but they knew Purdue, and that was got me excited. Is, you know, we recruited some of these kids for 2 weeks, and they still wanted to come to Purdue, right? So. In this short amount of time, the experience we've had, it's just, we got to get kids to campus, and once they get here, they'll see the same things that I'm seeing, and that's what makes me excited. My kids are 9 and 7. We just bought a lot. We're going to build a house in West Lafayette, and I hope when they get older and people ask them where they're from, they're going to say I'm from West Lafayette. That's our plan. So in order to do that, we got to win games. We got to win championships, and that's exactly why we're here. We're here to be unapologetic about the type of success that we want to have and how we're going to go about doing it. And that doesn't happen without you guys' support. And so for that, I thank you very much. So boiler up, and I'll take questions.
Yeah, take questions. I don't need to ask you. Now that you're in the Cathedral of West Lafayette restaurants here in Bruno, so what has been your experience? I mean, about this town and some of the things. I know you haven't had a lot of time because you travel all over the place, but tell us about what's in your experience just on the fabric of this community. What do you think?
Yeah, so one is everybody's been ultra positive. It's, you know, obviously this place has had success offensively, right? It's in its background. And so, you know, one of the things that I was a little, cautious or worried, I don't know, not to that extent, but it was just the fact that I was a defensive coach. Not only that, but, you know, I'm not shy of it, right? I'm 37 years old, 37-year-old defensive guy. I've taken over a program that has traditionally been offensive-minded and offensive-dominant. So I was questioning what kind of reception I would receive personally, right? But since I've been in the community, everything's been positive. I think that helped because I hired Graham Harrell and we went and got Hudson Card to be the quarterback.
Yeah.
And that we did that right away. But just the support and the positivity throughout the community, and the genuine want for us to do well and be successful, and all of that has been ultra positive. I haven't had any bad experiences or any negative connotations in that regard. That's been good. Anybody else?
What's your feelings about the transfer portal and going forward, even for this year? Do you have some positions you're still looking to fill?
Absolutely. You know, obviously the transfer portal, NIL, all of that stuff poses challenges. There's challenges for everybody. And so I think, you know, for us as a younger staff, I think we're more equipped to handle these challenges, these changes. Just like any corporation, right? If you've been doing something for 20 years, and all of a sudden policy changes, it's hard to change. It's hard to adapt. You almost fight that change, fight that adaptation. Whereas, you know, somebody that's just walking into a company and policy changes, well, you embrace that change, you figure it out, and you find a way to thrive. And so they are challenges, but I see them as opportunities. So did we address some things right away in the transfer portal? Absolutely. You know, our starting quarterback left. We had 2 or 3 other quarterbacks on scholarship and 0 experience or playing time. So I thought it was important to go get a quarterback with some experience and some playing time. And so we identified the one that we thought was the best in the portal, and we got him. And so again, there were a lot of schools out there that wanted him to be their quarterback and offered him a whole lot of money, but he decided to come to Purdue and to be a part of what we're doing. And we left a couple spots open so that we could get through with spring ball, identify some areas of need and concerns, so that when that next portal window opens up, we can address those issues. Any questions? So we're actually Monday. We're going to decide, if, when, and where. Obviously, Ross-Ade is being renovated, so we will not have the game there. I think there are a couple options still on campus to have something. Now, whether or not it'll be a like spring game format is still up in the air. If you label it a spring game, then the Big Ten Network can come and make you kind of do a dog and pony show, and I'm not about a dog and pony show. I want to get down to work. So we might label it just a spring practice, but make it like a fan day and open it up for the community to come and take a look at what we're doing. With Monday, myself and my GM over there, we'll iron out a decision and get times together, and as soon as those get finalized, we'll make that public.
Talk about your how you handle recruiting, and obviously you've got high school coaches and others. In terms of do you have your assistants that are going to be in certain areas? How do you deal with that?
Yeah. So recruiting area priority number one is obviously the state of Indiana. I think from a high school talent level is one of the more underrated states. In particular, this 24 class has a lot of talent. So we are targeting those guys and are spending a lot of time and effort on retaining those guys and making them want to take pride in playing for their state. We do have different areas, across the country. The Big Ten footprint, obviously, and then we'll also get into Florida and Texas, just with our relationships there. So every school or everybody we recruit, they should have 3 people at least recruit them, right? We'll have the area coach, have the position coach, have a coordinator, and then myself. Once it gets into like the decision-making process, and we know that there's mutual interest there. So obviously, from an evaluation standpoint, number one, like you got to be able to show out on tape, right? You got to be special. In order to reach the level of success that we're trying to reach and to compete and win championships, you got to have guys that can go compete and do that. Our second criteria is you got to love the game. Like this is too time-consuming. It's too hard. You spend too much time with it. It's too difficult not to love the game of football and not love it for what comes with it, right? Like I don't want to go get guys to represent our program that are doing it for Twitter likes and Instagram followers. I want guys that are film junkies, that are junkyard dogs, that love the game for the essence of the game. And then after that, it's just finding the right fit, scheme-wise, finding the right fit culturally, and things of that nature.
How do you see the addition of USC and UCLA in recruiting or tactics?
Are you asking if we're going to California to recruit? The answer is no, I'm not doing that. It's a long ways away when they try to convince a kid that's
You got a salad, couple of raspberry
living
beer
in 80 degrees and sunshine to come, travel this way. We won't get into that, but I'm excited for them to come play us when it's November. I do think it's good for college football, just to have 2 storied programs like that, 2 programs with tradition and history, to come be a part of this great conference. I just think it enhances our product, and it's exciting, right? Change can be difficult, not because it's good or bad, but just because it's different, right? And so I just think it's one of those things that is,
I'm on the GBI staff right now.
I think we'll look back on this, a couple of years from now and be like, man, that was really cool that they decided to jump into our conference.
It's a high-paying position.
To have it, for us in November to go play, UCLA in the Rose Bowl, I think it'd be a cool thing for our kids as well.
What would you say is the biggest challenge that you face? Obviously, you face a lot of challenges.
Right. So the 2 things right now I think are the biggest challenge. One is just the perception of this place if you're not familiar with this place, right? Obviously, Purdue is a high academic institution, and people know that, right? And so like if you're not from here, you don't know the support, you don't know the facilities, you don't know the atmosphere. You think, man, that's a good academic school. It's hard to get into, and Drew Brees played here. That's really it, right? I can't tell you like we've had kids that recently that we signed, like from the state of Florida and things like that, or, you know, Purdue, where is that? It's in Indiana. Where is that? So, like I said, but when you get kids on campus, right, and even guys that are in state, you know, like I said, that 24 class is special now. So we've had a couple junior days and they get to campus and they're like, wow, I didn't know this was like this year. I didn't know Purdue was what it was. And so that's why the challenge for us right now is just to get them to campus. And once we get them to campus, we get them, you know, around our staff and then get them out in the community and kind of see the support. Then it's like, why wouldn't you want to come here? Not only do you get a great experience, you get coached by some high-level coaches in a building that has all the resources you need, but you get to play in a conference, you know, and get a great education that's world class. So that right now is the challenge, is to change the perception nationally of what Purdue is. And then the second one is the NIL world, right? The NIL is here, it's not going away anytime soon. And to get people to understand that and support that, and realize that whether you agree with it or not, it is the life we live right now. It is the nature of college football, it's the nature of college athletics, period. So I think those two things are the biggest challenge right now in the recruiting.
I'll ask one last one, and that is, how do you do when, you know, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just thinking, you know, one of the things we really struggle with here, you know, when you try to think about matching up with Ohio State or Michigan or maybe even Wisconsin, it's just the balance of talent that we have. How do you see raising the program to the level where we can really do the business schools that, you know, are just like your 4 and 5 stars?
Well, so first off, you gotta, like I said, keep the guys in state and state. You know, you look at the Michigans, the Ohio States, they got a lot of guys from Indiana. And you look at their rosters, you know, it's also a bunch of guys from Ohio State, and Michigan. So to get the talent in state to realize, like, you know, you're going to other schools and enhancing like their state's schools, right? And so try to get them to stay. And I think that's also where like the transfer portal and the potential NIL road will help, right? You know, like I said, you know, we got Hudson Card, in my opinion, is going to be, if it works out the way I think it's going to work out, like he's a big good player. So you can fill holes and fill needs based on what your roster has currently. You're not having to rely on going to get a high school guy, developing them for 3-4 years, and then let them go play. You can plug and play guys right away. And so I think that's kind of how you try to counterbalance that. You know, and then again with the NIL world, like they're playing that game. And so if we want to compete, we got to play that game too. And then I think, you know, from a schematic standpoint, you know, obviously what we do defensively is a little bit unconventional, right? Which is why it was hard for people to score points on us when we were at Illinois the last 2 years. And then I think what Graham does offensively will also be unconventional for what the Big Ten is used to. And so I think, you know, having an offensive scheme and a defensive scheme that is a little bit different than what people will play week in and week out in this conference is also a way to close that gap and go compete against the Ohio State and Michigan of the world.
First, I want to congratulate you on your first act as the new head coach. I think the democracy of the scholarship was phenomenal. And that really brought the team in.
Don't worry, we got the Trent Johnson sign.
And I guess my question is, how involved are you going to try and get former players in the program?
Super involved. You know, one of the first things really the first thing I did during my opening press conference was thank everybody that wore the old gold and black. And because I know as a former player, right, the game has been, it is, and it will forever be about the guys that are playing on the field, right? I have worn pads for the last time. I put on cleats for the last time. I made my last tackle. Like I am not playing anymore, right? And so it's the players that build the program. So this Ross-Ade wouldn't be Ross-Ade without everybody that contributed to the success of the football team. We wouldn't have that beautiful facility unless if it wasn't for every player that came through here and made Purdue football what Purdue football is. And so it is my determination to try to make everybody that has worn the old, gold, and black and has bled for Purdue to feel welcome and feel comfortable coming home, because this is home for them. And we have a great alumni base. Obviously there are great players, great businessmen, great men of character that came through and gotten a degree from and played on that football field. And so I would be remiss if I didn't really openly accept and hope that they would come back and support the program.
To follow up on that, what kind of impact did Drew Brees have on recruiting the short brief period he was
So he got a couple conversations. I'll say that. Drew has been awesome. It was really cool to kind of get to know him through that bowl experience. But Drew is also a very busy man, right? Like he is pulling in a bunch of different directions. What's been cool for me, right? Like, so I grew up playing quarterback. And my first memory of football and Purdue athletics, was I was a high school sophomore. I'm starting quarterback for our varsity team in Aurora, Colorado. My family grew up in Los Angeles, and so we'd always go home. And the winter breaks and summer vacations, we always go back home to Los Angeles. And so one of the winter breaks, we're back and we're in Disneyland, and Drew is there for the Rose Bowl parade. And so I'm like, man, that's Drew Brees. You know what I mean? Like, I want to be Drew Brees one day. And all of a sudden I get this job, and I get a phone call, and it's Drew Brees, and I'm like, oh. So I had a couple conversations with him, just about what it means to be a Boilermaker and what it means to be a part of the brotherhood. And then obviously he came to the bowl game, got to hang out with him, got to pick his brain a little bit. And then now, I can call Drew Brees a little bit, he'll answer the phone. But he is ultra supportive of the program. Like, nobody's more proud to be a Boilermaker than Drew Brees, like, I can guarantee that.
Anything else? One more question, anybody?
Wow, that was an easy crowd. Appreciate it.